Hi everyone, thanks for coming. My name is Jeremias Gibilbank, and today I will be talking about Git and Gitflow Essentials. The agenda for today will have three main parts. First, we are going through some of the Git Basics. Then I will compare Git merge versus Git rebase and squash commit strategies. And lastly, I will talk a little bit about Gitflow and how this all puts together in a real-world example. So Git is a system for keeping track of changes that happen across a set of files. As we work on a project, we can take snapshots of our files that are called commits, and each Git commit has its own hash and knows its parent. So this allows us to travel back in time to previous versions of our files. Because we work on teams, we need a way to work on our own code without colliding with our teammates. That's what branches are made for. You can work safely in your branch without affecting the files or code in the master branch. Here you can see an example. We have the master branch and our alternate universe where we can code without changing the code for any other developer. Lastly, at some point, you will need to merge your work with the master branch. That's what merge commands are for. So how we merge, and here we will see three different strategies, and we will compare them to see which is the better or which are the pros and cons of each strategy. This is a big picture of how the three strategies work. And let's say we have this scenario where we branched the main branch in our feature branch, and we have been doing some commits in our feature branch. And at the same time, there have been some commits in the main branch that my feature branch doesn't know. So how we merge things? Do we use git merge or git rebase? So let's see the first strategy, the merge commit. Merge commit creates a commit that ties up the work from our feature branch to the main branch. This means it creates something like a knot. So the history of main will look like this, but at some point it will have a knot. So it will know that these commits continue and then the F commits continue. So this has its hash, this has its hash, this has its hash, and this F commit is a knot that has its own hash. So the problem with the merge commit strategy is as I create more and more features, the history can get a bit messy. It's like the history gets fragmented. I can go from any point in time that I want to go to, but my history gets a little messy. Next, let's see Git rebase and fast forward merge. So in this case, we have the same scenario. And what we can do with Git rebase, we can get our feature branch to know the commits that is missing, and then we can merge with fast forward into main. The end result will be we have the main branch with all its commits, and at the end, we tied up our commits from the feature one. This allows us to have the same commits, and we can go back in time at any point in time, and these commits will have the same hash as the feature. So in this way, our main branch keeps more linear. Lastly, we have the squash commit strategy, where all the feature commits are squashed in a commit at the main branch. What this means is that we have a new commit called F, in this case, which has a new hash and has all the changes inside the same commit. In this way, we lose the history on the main branch. We cannot move back and forward through our commits. They are lost, or they are kind of lost. At least main branch will not know which are the granular commits that were made for this feature. So we'll lose the fine history on the main branch. At the same time, it's true that we kind of lose it, because if we keep the feature branch living and we push it to the cloud, history will be there, but it's not as easy as if it was like the Git rebase and fast forward merge. In any case, the squash strategy is the most commonly used in the platform. For example, in GitHub, you have a button where you merge a commit, you merge a PR, and you squash and merge all the changes. And as I say, you lose the history in the main branch. So let's do a quick comparison between these three strategies. So for Git merge commit, we preserve the commit history, but on the downside, it makes the history a little bit messy. On the Git rebase and fast forward merge, it allows us for a cleaner commit history. We can see all the history all together, and it provides a linear commit timeline. On the cons, it reduces the traceability because everything is all together and it's not easily to find when a feature starts and when a feature ends. And lastly, the squash commit, it will give us a clear and concise commit history because in the main branch, we will have one commit per feature, but at the same time, we are losing the commit details in the main branch and that reduces the traceability. That leads me to the third part of this talk, that is Gitflow. So what is Gitflow? It's a Git branching model that involves the use of feature branches and multiple primary branches. How it works? Gitflow proposes, instead of single main branch, 2 branches to record the history of the project. The main branch, which stores the official release history, and the develop branch that serves as an integration branch for features. Then we have the feature branches, as you can see in the drawing. They start from dev, they never start from main, and each feature should reside in its own branch. They are merged back to develop, and they never interact with main. So as I mentioned before, the develop branch is the integration branch for every feature that we code, and the main branch is the release. Then we have release branches. Not every project uses release branches, but they are useful. So once develop has acquired enough features for a release, we fork a release branch off from develop. No new features can be added after we branch a release branch, as you can see here. And once it's ready, it gets merged to main and it's tagged with a new version. After we merge to main, it should be merged again to develop to maintain the new commits that we can have put here. Every commit that is put on a release branch should be either for documentation or for minor fixes for that release to work. The advantage of having a release branch is that one team can focus on polishing the release while the other team can keep developing on their develop branch without colliding. Lastly, we have hotfix branches. Hotfix branches are quickly patched to our production releases. And this is the only branch that can be based on main. The intention of these branches are to fix something that is already in production. And they are merged both to main and dev, or also to the current release branch that is being opened. When we merge a hotfix to main, we should tag main with a minor fix release like you see here, B01, B02. So let's put all this together in a real world example. Here you can see a strategy, and this is the strategy that we are intending to use in all our projects. So here we have our main branch that could be tagged to release, an example of hotfix branch. We have also here a stage branch that is an intermediate place where we can do QA. Then we have the develop branch, and lastly, we have a feature example. So the strategy that we are proposing here is the following. When we want to merge a feature to our dev branch, we are proposing here a squash merge. Why? Because this allows us to have a one commit feature that we could get through different branches, and it's a cleaner history. So developed history will be like feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, and stage will be the same, and main keep the same. We kind of lose the granularity of checking how each commit of the feature was done, but that's something that it could be useful when we merge and we do code review. After that, it's okay to have all in one. Then, after we have our squash commit in develop branch, the idea here is to do fast forward to our stage branch. What this means? That means that we want to keep our stage branch history clean with each feature one after the other. And lastly, when we are ready to release and we have done every check that we check on our stage environment, we can merge fast forward to main. As you can see, this says merge to stage fast forward if possible, and merge to stage, here I have a naming problem. This is main, and merge to stage fast forward if possible. Both says if possible. And why? That's because while I've been working on my own develop branch or I've been working on my own stage branch, it could be the case that there are commits that exist in main that doesn't exist on stage, or there could be commits that exist on stage that doesn't exist on develop. It's not the ideal world, but it can happen. So how I fix that? Let's say the first scenario that I mentioned, let's say we have this scenario. So there are new commits in main that stage doesn't know. So we have a stage and development that were branched from main, and development added some commits. Let's say this is a feature. So when we try to merge fast forward to stage, we will merge without any problem because there are any unknown commits for them. But when we try to merge fast forward from stage to main, we will have an error. We cannot merge fast forward because there are new commits that stage doesn't know. So how we fix this? That's where the things that we learn in the first part of the talk come together. So the way we can fix this is, as you can see here, we have the light blue commit or light blue feature. Let's say it's one commit. We need to do a rebase from that commit. So we do a rebase with this commit hash into stage, and then we do the same for dev. So this is the scenario. What we are doing is we are rebasing stage from main, and then we are rebasing dev from stage. This way, stage and dev will get to know this commit, and then after we have made this, we will be able to merge fast forward from stage to main. This will give us a clean Git history in our branches. Let's do a second scenario similar to the other, but instead of having new commits on stage, let's say we have new commits on main, we have new commits on stage. So same scenario, stage starting from main, develop starting from stage, and we have developed a feature and we want to merge fast forward to our stage branch. So as you can see, there are new commits, so I won't be able to do this. So how I fix it? Same strategy. We just do rebase with this commit hash. So develop gets to know this commit in its own history, and then I'm able to do the fast forward without problems. This will allow me to do this kind of work, and that gets me the best of the cleaner history, and at the same time, it allows me to quickly move features from one branch to the other. So that's all for today. Thank you guys for coming.